Hey guys, it's Kies here, back in another video. I know this video is very similar to the last one I made about 2 or 3 hours ago before I went shopping to get milk and stuff. But anyway, the last video I made was a bit about Republicans, as in people who support republics. By Republicans, I mean people who support republics, supporting Celtic, and my desire for them to do so. And this one is more about the goal for this one is more to talk about republics themselves and people from republics themselves specifically, and Republican countries. In modern day investing in Celtic, and in modern day football, you get teams like Man City or Chelsea, well, not so much Chelsea, but Man City and teams like that, and now Newcastle, which are owned by now Newcastle United, which are owned by entire states in a way. And I was going to try and add a bit of humour by saying, I know my beard is really sexy and my hair and cool as well. Maybe not, but I might dream they're cool and sexy, but they're probably not. And I was thinking, how do I have a bald patch and still have like hair hanging out the side and looking a mess? I don't know how that works, but I know I have hair all over the place. But anyway, sorry, going a bit off topic. I thought I'd try and add a bit of humour, but I know I'm not particularly great at humour as much as I might like to be. But yeah, so this is about my desire for entire republics or states to invest in Celtic and like co-own Celtic, have shares and some of the equity. I mean, the current Celtic owners might say they don't actually want to sell the club, or they want to maintain shares, which is fair enough. I think like the UFC fighter Conor McGregor, who's obviously from Ireland, and Celtic has a big Irish connection. The reason why they're called Celtic is because they're like have Celtic connections, which are to do with the Celtic countries. More specifically Ireland, in particular. But yeah, so Conor McGregor said he was going to buy shares in Celtic, but Dermot Desmond, the majority shareholder of Celtic, says he wants to own shares and supports the club just as much as anyone else, apparently. So he didn't want to sell his shares. But I think if some people either invest, if co-owners, I'd love to see as many wealthy co-owners, people like Conor McGregor or Snoop Dogg, who's apparently a Celtic fan, although people say he changes his team every week. People might say the same about me, but because I love all the Italian teams and Celtics, so you can probably picture me in so many different tops, like Inter, even their rivals AC Milan or Juventus, all the Italian teams. But I don't really flip flop in terms of like I support all the Italian teams always in Europe, and I support Celtic in terms of Scottish football domestically. So just to clarify that. But yeah, so anyway, yeah, people like Snoop Dogg and others who support Celtic. I think Coolio is another one, for anyone who knows who he is. He's or used to be a singer a long time ago. He sang Gangster's Paradise, but on the Celtic FC main channel, you can see on YouTube, you can see him at Paradise, as we call it, which is Celtic Park. Anyway, which I have never had the chance to go to, actually, if I'm honest. But I'd love to. Basically, I love to support the club financially. I think that's even more important, in my opinion, because, as I said in my previous video, it nowadays in modern football, I think finances are one of the most important things of a football club, and to me, trophies are the most important thing, in my opinion, as well as having fun. From a footballing point of view, I think trophies are the most important, and I think you should enjoy those trophies as much as possible. So I hope that if every trophy Celtic manages to win, I'm going to enjoy it as much as possible, and also enjoy some of the history of trophies we've won. But yeah, I'd love to see republics, as I mentioned in part one, and I don't know if I mentioned this point in part one, but when I think it'd be great if Celtic fans said that we're going to be military neutral, or like pacifists or conscientious objectors, which on Monday, which is 2 or 3 days away, I hope to discuss this in a bit more detail. But I hope, one of my goals or dreams or whatever is that Celtic fans will not join any militaries. I'd like us not to use violence unless in self-defense or defense of the vulnerable or whatever. So unfortunately, there are some things with Celtic that I disagree with, which I hope to cover in the future, like some of the fans support the IRA and things like that, which I don't agree with, because I don't agree with violence per se, and I think we should be military neutral and a pacifist and conscientious objectors. So my fellow Celtic fans might disagree with me on that, and we don't always agree, and sometimes we'll probably argue or even not get along. But generally speaking, hopefully, at least I hope most Celtic fans will at least understand my position, like about pacifism and conscientious objection, and understand sometimes you need to use violence in self-defense or defense of the vulnerable, if I take it literally. Excuse me. But yeah, so I didn't mention that point, I don't think, in part one. Oh, in the other video, sorry. But yeah, I think that other countries, when I know I mentioned the controversial view about Russia and how part of me wants to see them invest, although I can understand the argument that they shouldn't, or maybe they won't be able to now with sanctions. But it would be great to see investment money into the youth academies to improve the youth in the future, and also for the having academies around the world as well, which would probably benefit Scotland and other places, like poorer places as well, like having academies across Africa and the Americas, like even for indigenous Americans perhaps. But yeah, so have that money to have the academies and also buy better players, and whatever other costs are incurred on a football club, or even including the foundation in Celtic's case, where the club donates to charity and things like that. And hopefully, if Celtic agrees to be military neutral and not be involved in any wars, including a scary potential war with Russia, if Celtic fans en masse agree not to join the military, hopefully countries like Russia or China and India, I hope they'll invest anyway, but hopefully that'll be an extra incentive for them to invest. But because the reason why I say republics is because Celtic is a republic, I think most Celtic fans support republics and have the Irish connection, so they're probably not that fond of like the royal family or things like that, and they're probably most Celtic fans, are probably not all, but most are more like me, republic supporters, so we really want to support republics more. And also most probably are not that patriotic to the UK, not all, but many are not, or certainly in terms of things like militarism or monarchism or things like that. So as people who are mostly pacifists, not pacifists, but who don't support the military, sorry, and who don't generally support the monarchy as a general rule politically, I think it'd be good to see, excuse me, pacifists, conscientious objectors, and Republicans and republics themselves investing in Celtic, maybe donating to the club, and maybe even I'd love to see people like Snoop Dogg and people like that, if they say they support Celtic, putting their money where their mouth is and donating to, like, as I say, having a special Snoop Dogg, for instance, and Conor McGregor and people like that could all have their own sort of could invest in a football academy, maybe even each, which could be for people in Glasgow itself in Scotland, and also invest in having academies around the world, or at least have shares in the club. So anyway, I hope this made sense. Can't think of too many other points, but I'd love to hear what you think about my lame attempts at humour and stroke, or also about Celtic itself, and about this video and the ideas, and whether you think they're too quirky or whether you think they have some merit. And again, I'd love to hear your views and whatever you want to comment, whatever ideas you have. And maybe you think my ideas are really good, hopefully. But as ever, whatever you want to comment, please feel free in the comment section. And I am out. Peace and love.